done it! I cannot believe it! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again!
Hello everyone, we are Through on Goal, a podcast where we talk about football and pretty much nothing else. My name is Sam, and as always, I am joined by my co-host and very, very best friend. I'll add an extra very there for you. Very best friend of the whole wide world, Elliot. Hello, Elliot.
Hello, Sam.
You know when what's this? We're coming towards our year anniversary here.
I think it's like 42.
And
41,
I always
42.
and I always introduce you like we've never spoken for a week. We talk every
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
But
no,
I've realised that I'm like, how are you, Elliot? I know how you are.
This isn't for you, though. This is for the avid listeners.
I know. It's just I don't want.
To be honest, most of them I probably speak to on a daily basis.
There are people out there that don't know us.
Yeah.
How's your week been?
Busy.
You're almost into your penultimate week of work.
Tomorrow is my penultimate week of work. 9 days left of working. And then 2 weeks off, including the big move before starting up the new job and new life 187-ish miles from here.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, busy as you'd kind of expect, getting everything ready. But it's all positive. It's all moving in the right direction. Yeah. How's your week been?
Well, compared to yours, nothing.
Yeah. You watched a bit of football.
I watched
You've done a bit of work.
Yeah, did a couple of people's probations. That's about it, really. That's all I've done.
Yeah.
So, on the basis of obviously moving to Derby, we are not living too far away from St George's Park, our England training ground. That's just down the road, really. It's not too far away from us.
Is it Burton?
I think it's in and around Burton, just outside. Yeah. One of the players that we're not going to see driving by is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, obviously, that comes from Gareth Southgate announcing his England squad this week. A quite interesting England squad, if I do say so myself. But one of the major omissions, there are other omissions. Obviously, there's Bamford, but we'll get onto that. But one of the major omissions, obviously, is Alexander-Arnold. Now, do you think it's justified? Do you think it's warranted? What do you think?
So, based on this season, I think he hasn't been good enough because Walker he always looks good for Man City. It's England that he doesn't quite cut it for sometimes. But then you got Reece James. I think Wan-Bissaka's not in the squad either. But we do have depth at right back. I think we've chosen Trippier again. I'm not really sure about that one. But
he plays at a right wing back at one of the most defensively sound clubs in Europe, who are, at time of recording, I think they're still top of the league.
I think they are. They won again tonight.
So,
but it makes sense. But I think Southgate, although he's obviously picked his squad based on form, based on merit for the season, I wonder if there's part of him thinking that he just needs a break. From what I've watched of him recently, he just looks exhausted every game. He does sort of, I don't know, he's given the ball away a lot more this season than he has in recent seasons, and you can kind of notice it's just like that lazy passing. It's not looking up for an option, it's just hoofing it in the box because it's the easy option, it's the lazy option. And I think whether or not it was in Gareth Southgate's mind or not, is the break will surely benefit Trent Alexander-Arnold. Giving him a couple of weeks without a game surely got to benefit him, and I fully expect him to be in the squad for the Euros in the summer.
Yeah, I was just about to say, these are World Cup qualifiers against, I don't know, San Marino. I think it's one of them, because we always face San Marino.
Yeah, we have. I think it's San Marino, Poland. Is it Poland?
Albania.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's
yeah. Right, I see what you say, and obviously, I could appreciate Alexander-Arnold is off the pace this season. It's not, that's not breaking news. That's it's quite well documented. But as a player, do you accept? He's obviously, Gareth Southgate was vocal and he said he's not being off the pace this season. That's why he's not in my squad. But in the same breath, he's picked Eric Dier for the England squad as well, who is not. He's lost his starting place at Tottenham. It's rotation now between Alderweireld and Sanchez. You know what I mean? Do you accept that? I wouldn't accept that, because I know you might say, for instance, he needs a break, but who's that to say? Who's Southgate to say? Oh, he needs a break. He's not good enough. Me, I've been called up for my country. I want to play for England. I don't, maybe that bit of form, because remember when Harry Maguire was having an awful time at United, and then he got picked for England, and people were thinking, oh, if he plays well for England, this can get him back into form with club. And And he got sent off for England, so it didn't help.
Yeah.
But why are we not treating Alexander-Arnold the same? He's been a bit off form. Right, it's a couple of run of games against, let's face it, not very good opposition. Bit more confidence in him. Yeah, he's maybe assisted one or two. Go back to Liverpool with that belief again. But he hasn't. Is there more to it? Or are we missing something out? Or is that just looking too deep into it?
I think it's potentially looking too deep into it. I fully expect that, Trent Alexander-Arnold has proven that he's, at least in Liverpool's system, a world-class right-back, the best in the world, maybe over the last 2-3 years in that position. So I do expect him to go to the Euros, and if when used correctly, he can be one of our most creative outlets. But yeah, with the Eric Dier thing, my thought is maybe he only just gets into the squad because he's versatile, because he can play centre-back or that holding midfield role, which with Henderson injured, we've only really got Rice, who's that out and out. You put him in that starting 11. I think, is Calvin Phillips in the squad?
Calvin Phillips got picked, yeah.
So he's obviously going to be in there as well, but I think he's there because he can cover the two roles.
Okay, but against opposition like Albania, San Marino, I get Poland, obviously, Lewandowski, that there's that threat there, but other than that...
And Kamil Krasicki.
Oh, of course. Turbo. But against like San Marino, Albania, for example, I know Alexander-Arnold has not been tested or has not been put into a centre mid role. However, the way he plays his game, he would be so suited for a centre mid. Now, I know Alexander, he's come out and he said, I'm happy being right back. That's where they want me to play. That's where I'll play. But against that opposition, do you not maybe go, okay, let's try you out as a midfield? Because they did it with Walker as a centre back, didn't he? He was playing at the right side of a centre back, and it did work for a fair few games when they were doing that 5 at the back system. Now, would you not then try and get Alexander-Arnold? Maybe try that at centre mid against lesser teams.
It makes sense. At least even have him available on the bench so that against San Marino, just barring anything going drastically wrong, we can be 4-5-0 up at half time, and you can go, even if this goes wrong, the game is still won. There's still enough
quality on that pitch to finish the game.
Yeah, it's an interesting argument because they have said Alexander-Arnold can play that sort of midfield role, and then I think he'd be suited more as a defensive sort of right mid, right winger than as a centre mid, because in that defensive mid role, you wouldn't necessarily be able to get the same sort of delivery into the box that you can from the right hand side. You're doing it from a bit more of a difficult angle. But if you had him, I think he'd be better suited if you were to play him in midfield as, say, in a 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1 or something like that, as that right mid in front of a more defensive player like Wan-Bissaka, where you can still get the delivery, and he's got, I don't think it's unfair to say he's got sort of Beckham-like crossing on him, and he can track back, because I do think his defensive strength is one of his weaknesses, really. But if you've got someone who kind of knows how to be a fullback up there, he can defend, but with a proper defensive fullback behind him in Wan-Bissaka, I think that could be good. And we saw in the World Cup, our tactic, or at least Southgate's tactic, is to go a goal up and sit on it.
Yeah.
And if we were to do that, I think that would suit there. You could double up on the right hand side, and yeah.
Okay, yeah. So obviously 10 defenders for those 3 games. It's a bit overkill, but let's go towards the strikers. Now, Ollie Watkins has been selected for his first England call-up. I think based on this season, I think it's very well deserved, because he has scored. Obviously, he has scored about 10 or 11 goals, I think, this season.
He's on 10 at the moment, yeah.
But it's not just that. Obviously, off the ball, he provides quite a lot as well for the team. But Bamford was overlooked. Now, I don't really like asking you this, because I know the biased in Elliot, who does not like Patrick Bamford. I know his answer. But let's talk about Through on Goal host and impartial Elliot, who loves football. Do you think it's harsh that Bamford did not get a call-up?
I think it is harsh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I'm happy to see Ollie Watkins get the call-up, and especially first time, he'll be absolutely loving it, and he's shown quality throughout the season. But I'm not sure on what basis he's got it over Bamford. I mean, the only thing I can see that he's got kind of going for him is age. He's a year younger than Bamford, so if you want to keep him around the squad, he's got that bit more longevity in him, and he's obviously just hit the Premier League, whereas Bamford's had his chances before. But I think Bamford's got more goals, he's got more assists, and I think it makes more sense to me for Bamford than Watkins. Stones.
Yeah, no, Saka is injured. I think he got injured in the Europa League. So an omission like that maybe could bring Bamford into the squad. I don't know. Maybe they'll go for more of a winger, but who would you then pick? But no, I agree. When I saw the squad, I was so sure that Bamford this season was due a call-up, because he has played well this season. He has proved a lot of people, me and you included, wrong with scoring goals in the Premier League, and he's playing very, very well. I don't know. It's probably a long shot to say he would be in the Euro squad. I don't doubt that he would be backup, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't doubt that he would be the, keep your passport close, but well, I don't know where the Euros are this year, to be honest.
Don't book a holiday.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't. But maybe it's too much of a stretch to say that he would be in the Euro squad. But who knows, if he scores like another 6-7 goals this season, what's to say that he won't be? We'll end the England talk, obviously, on a couple of inclusions that are very well deserved this season. Yeah. Obviously, Luke Shaw is one to talk about because he's England's starting left back at the moment, isn't he?
He's the best left back in the Premier League this season so far, in my opinion.
Yep, no, I agree. I can't argue there. And Jesse Lingard. Now, he loves a goal against Arsenal, doesn't he? Because obviously he scored a cracking one today.
Unbelievable goal.
Has he got himself into the Euro squad? I'm watching Lingard thinking, I want him to play for England at the Euros. You say, about 4, 5, 6 podcasts ago, I was thinking, Euros is a stretch, but get him in the friendlies and we'll see. I want him in that Euro squad.
He is just going from strength to strength, isn't he?
He loves his football.
Yeah, is it the Moyes factor? Because he played well under Moyes before, but then that kind of carried on into the next couple of managers until he got frozen out. Well, I don't quite know, but he's just looking unbelievable. He's the big fish in the small pond at West Ham at the moment, and he's loving it. I can see from this that he's going to end up going back to United at the end of the season, and West Ham are going to be desperate to keep him. But then what if you were United at this stage, what kind of value do you put on him? What's your asking price? 20? 25?
Yeah, COVID, they'll probably want to get some money back. I agree. I think it would be time for Lingard to move on. As much as United might want to keep him, maybe the ship has sailed at United. Not for Lingard. Maybe he's played for West Ham. He's gone, playing for West Ham has got him back into the England squad and a shout for the Euros. That was never happen at United.
And you think back at United, he's playing at the absolute best case scenario for him. He's playing second choice attacking midfield behind Bruno. Yeah. And
look at Van der Beek.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's not getting a game.
But, I mean, if it wasn't for presuming that both Grealish and Maddison come back from injury and stay fully fit, if they were still injured at the time, you'd have him as starter. As a number 10. He's just looking absolutely on fire. And another name that you didn't mention, which hasn't been in an England squad for a little while, also massively deserved, is John Stones.
John Stones, yeah. Get him at striker, I say. Why
He's
not?
prolific, isn't he?
Why not? He's scoring goals for fun this season. No, I agree. It's definitely an England squad for, like, quotation mark redemption, if you know what I mean. Like, players that, I mean, yeah, you're looking at this thinking, are we looking at the 2016 Euros? What's going on here? It's a 2020/21 Euros. But
I was partly surprised to see Jadon Sancho not in the squad, because he's been, obviously, Haaland aside, he's been one of Dortmund's best players.
He has been injured, though. He hasn't played the game since the 2nd of March. I don't know if there's a conversation going on between Dortmund's manager and saying, just leave him out for a bit. I did look at that before, 2nd of March was his last game, and he went off injured in that.
We've got Bellingham in the squad, and it's tonight been announced that he is able to travel,
which is good news.
Yeah, because I watched a few Dortmund games recently, and the lad is the real deal. He's fantastic. Yeah. He's got a kind of, I don't know, kind of Pogba, Hullet, that kind of controlling big sort of centre mid. It's kind of his build, and he's such a big, strong sort of player, and he's still so comfortable on the ball. And he's 17.
Yeah,
he's
born in 2003. Do you know how sick that makes me?
Jesus Christ, 2003. I'd have been in year 3.
I'd
have been halfway through primary school when he was born. Jeez.
I just got my pen licence, and he's playing for England.
Jesus.
God, well done. So we'll move on to European football now. In regards to the Champions League, obviously, I think it's safe to say it all went kind of how we expected it. Yeah, Chelsea went through. Real Madrid obviously went through as well. We'll mention the draw before we go on to the Europa League, but Real Madrid beat Liverpool, which, that's a good tie. That's an interesting tie.
Salah will be doing shoulder day 7 days a week.
And the winner of that faces the winner from Chelsea or Porto. Now, as much as seeing Real Madrid and Porto, I don't doubt would be a good game, maybe. I don't know. We all want a Liverpool-Chelsea semi-final, don't we? We all want the Luis Garcia derby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we want to see that back. Mourinho, Benitez. It's just missing the fans, isn't it? That would have been proper good with the fans. But, I don't know. We'll talk about FA Cup in a second. But I know, and obviously Man City with the quadruple. But I think Chelsea, I'm changing my mind on the FA Cup with Man City, but we'll move on. I don't know where to begin. Okay, my mum, I quickly FaceTimed my mum yesterday, and she did say, oh, by the way, when you do the podcast tomorrow, try not to trash Tottenham too much. It's very hard not to, because I have no idea what I watched on Thursday, but it was one of the most woeful Tottenham performances I've seen. Take nothing away from the hat-trick that was scored, because he was having his own goal of the month competition. He was just scoring, do you know what I mean? He was playing for fun, but Bale's work rate is very questionable. I didn't see too much. What is it with goalkeepers that aren't on paper very good, but as soon as they come up against Tottenham, they're thinking, I'm going to have the game in my life, because that's just what they do. That save to come across the goal from that Kane shot, granted it might have been, should have hit it a bit better, but you 2-0 up. Tottenham needed, it's not like Tottenham needed 2 goals or 3 goals, 1 goal Tottenham needed. That's it. And did you see the Lloris interview after the game?
That is telling, isn't it?
He called some people out, didn't he? He was straight out. But at the same time, you're watching that going, yes, it's about time someone takes charge, because it's all well and good with there just being silence, being, oh yeah, we should have played better. Oh yeah, Mourinho's like, yeah, that's on me and stuff. But Lloris is coming out going, yeah, there's people in there that they've got no belief, they're awful. It was refreshing to see.
I think a lot of that interview was a dig at Jose.
You reckon?
I think so. And because it was all of his comments. I watched the interview. I watched it with my dad, and both came out of that saying he hasn't name dropped him, but that is at Jose.
Okay, no, I do see it. It's, the problem with Tottenham at the moment is, don't get me wrong, all right, Pochettino he isn't a prolific winner, Pochettino. I think that's fair to say. That's not me digging. He's not won competitions. He didn't win anything with Tottenham. But that Tottenham squad, Pochettino did not win anything with. Very close. He got them to Champions League finals. He got them as a Champions League team for how many years? It
still makes me think what would have happened in that game if... I still don't think it's a penalty.
No, I don't.
What would have happened if that didn't happen in the first 60 seconds?
No, absolutely.
But yeah.
And obviously, how widely loved was Pochettino?
Oh, absolutely. Now,
you've got Mourinho, who is a serial winner everywhere he goes, but he can't seem to get anything out of this Tottenham team. Is the problem deeper than the manager, who we seem to be blaming every week?
Oh, I don't know, because how much money did he spend in summer? 80 million, 100 million?
More than previous seasons, yeah.
So if Daniel Levy had gone to Pochettino and said, and if he was still in charge and said, you've got XYZ amount to spend, same as what Jose got, 100 million, 80 million, whatever it may well have been, would Tottenham still be in 8th tonight?
I don't know. You look at this squad, this Tottenham squad, and he said it in the All or Nothing documentary that this Tottenham squad is better than that Man United squad that he had. That Man United squad, he won the Europa League. I think he won the Capital One Cup with them, and he got them to second, which he said was his greatest achievement at managers, finishing second with that squad. So this squad, which he's inherited, which is borderline world class, you have world class players in that team. You have a World Cup winner as your captain. Do you know what I mean? So you've got players in there that can, know how to play on the big stage. Why is he not getting anything out of them? Is that a Mourinho thing, or is that a Tottenham mentality? There's too much dead wood in that team.
It's the thing that Chiellini came out and said it's Spursy.
It's a Tottenham. Yeah, this is Tottenham. It's how. Yeah. So the problem is with this stupid COVID, is that's fine. You can get players out that if you want to, you could get players out if people can buy them. But but obviously, if Tottenham don't get these players out, Ben Davies, he's not good enough. He isn't Eric Dyer. He had a good start, but then he's not been good enough. Doherty, what's happened? What on earth has happened to him this season? I don't know. Winks, he's past it. He's not good enough. Sissoko still manages to get a game every. He runs. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen him control a ball well. Lamella, he runs and runs and runs, and he's a cult player, isn't he? He's one of those that he would do anything. You
want better? Yeah,
yeah.
Because he was at the time. I presume he can't be anymore. Surely not. He was a record signing. It's Ndombele now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And 30 million, especially in that market, it's probably 50, 60 million in this market. And I'm gonna say, what has he brought to Tottenham aside from 2 of the greatest goals you'll ever see and a lot of ball rolls? But he's never really produced, has he?
Lucas Moura, obviously, in recent weeks, has definitely shown a lot of critics wrong, because he's really played very well. But you see that it's all that kind of just players that just can move on, but they're not. They're still on the wage book, and obviously, if they're still on the wage book, Tottenham can't get better players in because those wages are already, taken up by players that just don't seem to leave, that managers don't seem to get rid of. So, Tottenham were my winners for the Europa League this season.
I think they were mine as well. Yeah,
that's annoyed me a little bit. So obviously there's higher ups. You've got Daniel Levy, you've got Enoch, who majority own Tottenham, who seem to care more about profit than they do football. It's a business to them, isn't it?
Now, isn't it? That's modern football.
It's frustrating to see, but Capital One Cup.
The entire season rests on
a Capital One Cup.
But
let's not take anything away from Tottenham at this moment in time. League form. Yes, they lost to Arsenal, and we obviously discussed it last week. 2-0 against Villa this week.
Yeah, and it was always pretty comfortable, really.
They are currently in the table. They're sat in 6th, but they're 3 points off 4th. Top 4. 3 points off top 4. We were saying that Europa League was probably their last chance for European football. It definitely is Arsenal's. No disrespect, but it's definitely Arsenal's last chance. But if Mourinho gets Tottenham into that top 4 this season, that's a reason to keep him. Mourinho inherited a Champions League Tottenham squad when they were down and out. They'd just been 7-2 to buy and they were gone. So a full Champions League season with Mourinho at the helm, who loves that competition. Do you go right one more season with Mourinho, or do you say no, off you go, we want Nagelsmann?
See, I don't see Jose getting that top 4 this season.
You don't?
No, I don't think I do. And one argument that I've got on the whole Pochettino-Mourinho debate is that they sacked a manager who got Tottenham to the Champions League final and replaced him with a manager who possibly will get Tottenham out of Europe for the first time in 12 years.
Oh, well, it's a fun end to the season, isn't it? This top 4, the race for top 4 is good. I'm looking forward to it. Let's tread carefully. Rangers are out of Europa League. Lost 2-0 to Slavia Prague. Cracking free kick.
Yep.
That obviously pretty much won it for them. The 2 red cards for one of them, Roof, I'm trying to compare it.
It was like the Edison Mane one, wasn't it?
Well, it reminded me of Hulk Hogan's big boot. You know what I mean? Just not gonna. I wanted to do a leg drop once you're down, but that entire game was completely overshadowed by the alleged racist remarks from the Slavia Prague player. I can't pronounce his name. I'm not going to bother saying it. Did you read what he apparently said?
Yes. He went across and said that in Guy.
You effing Guy. Do you believe that's what he said? No.
First of all, no. Second of all, from what I've heard, the 2 Rangers players that were there at the time are calm individuals. And for them to react like that, from everything that's been said, is a complete it's completely out of character for them. And no, I don't believe it. And yeah, it's just wrong. And I think the stance that Rangers have taken ever since, and defending their players, defending the club, defending the manager, and being very outspoken on it is the right thing to do.
I absolutely do not believe a word Slavia Prague said.
No,
not a chance. I'm sorry, but I've called you worse.
What then?
Do you know what I mean?
You effing guy. Yeah.
You don't walk over, shield your mouth, and go, "You effing guy," and then everyone.
You don't run 40 yards to say that.
No, exactly, and you cover your mouth as well. The reaction action that did it for me. What made me think, no, yeah, something more said there.
Yeah.
But the Slavia Prague comment, their press release or whatever it was afterwards, was just like, he didn't say anything racist, but that Rangers team, I've never played a more violent game. No. There's tackles happening every game. Yes, the red card was unfortunate, but you know what I mean? It was a physical game. Welcome to Scotland. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We watched an Old Firm derby this afternoon. It's a physical game. That's what they play.
Your whole argument of him not being racist was, yeah, but Rangers were like, they hurt us. They kicked us a bit and we didn't like it. No. Your statement, if you're going to stand by your player and say he's not racist and get the old Luis Suarez, wearing the t-shirts, yeah. But I absolutely stand by Kamara there. 100 million %. Because
I think there's been a couple of Steven Gerrard interviews since, and they've been very telling. First of all, they said that after the game, they waited in the tunnel to talk to the Slavia Prague players, officials, everything. The entire sort of club hierarchy were there, not just the players, not just the managers, the suits, as you would, were there, and they weren't advising, don't stay here in case you get in trouble with UEFA, in case you get in trouble with the club or whatever. This is whatever UEFA say, this is the right thing, what we're doing. And Rangers haven't bitten back the same way that Slavia Prague did. This isn't a footballing affair. Steven Gerrard has come out and said Slavia Prague were the better team on the day, deserved to go through. They played the better football, but that's not what this is about.
Yeah, he was straight out in that interview. He went, he was racially abused. No beating around the bush. He was straight out, and he trusted him like his own son. Do you know what I mean? To have that from your manager,
he's going to go a long way.
Well done, Gerrard. Absolutely, I absolutely can't say fairer than that. And
not if he's done this, if he's done that. No,
it was Goldson as well. Did you see? Like, as soon as he heard what Kamara said, like he went straight to it, and he got booked. Oh my god, he got booked for defending a player that's just been racially abused. UEFA need to take a start. They need to do something. Will they do something? Absolutely not. UEFA are shocking when it comes to racism. They're absolutely awful. You've seen it in cup competitions with England. You know what I mean? There's been whistling. And Slavia Prague, they've had their ultras that had this banner. Have you seen that picture?
Yeah, it's shocking.
Absolutely shocking. What's going to happen? Nothing. Absolutely.
They might get a €20,000 fine, and they'll get a match behind closed doors while it's still behind closed doors for COVID. Nothing will happen.
Exactly. What's that player going to get? He's going to be in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. That is what's going to happen. It's no secret of my Tottenham connections. I love Tottenham. I speak passionately about them. But I have never wanted Arsenal to win a game of football more than the quarterfinal against Slavia Prague. I want them to think, you think Rangers were bad? Do you know what I mean? But Arteta's quite...
You want Arsenal to go out in the semis?
Yeah, Arsenal can bottle it in the semi-finals. I don't care. But I've never wanted them to beat a team more than Slavia Prague.
Also, it was good to see before, in the build-up to the Old Firm derby today, while the players were warming up, Scott Brown walking across on his own, straight over and say, stand with him. I mean, it'd be the first one to then put him up in the air, but that's football.
Yeah, that's it. That's an Old Firm derby.
That was good to see, because we all know how fierce that rivalry is, and to stand by him. No, I like that.
Things much bigger than football, and this racism is right now in football. It's just
getting worse.
It's horrible.
It's a daily occurrence. You see it.
Jude Bellingham, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and if it's not him, it's someone at United. It's someone at.
It's stupid.
It was Ian.
Stupid people thinking it's funny. It's stupid people thinking because it's in the news. Oh, they got this. Oh, a couple of emojis. No. It's racist. There's nothing funny. There's nothing banter about racism. There is, but people do it for fun. They think, oh.
Do you see the one a couple of weeks ago that they had a bad game on FIFA using the Ian Wright icon card, so they decided.
They sent him,
Jesus, what
goes through people's heads?
A brain cell.
That there needs to be better education in school for that, or just better education anywhere. Like Wilfried Zaha, obviously, he stopped taking the knee because obviously it's just not. It's become just like kind of a gesture now, isn't it? It's not. Nothing's happening. Let's be honest, okay. Taking the knee, I understand it. There, it's a simple. It's symbolising no against racism. But I feel like no action has been taken from the Premier League or anyone to stop this, or to at least try and. Social media is so hard to monitor, if you get me, because anyone can start a social media account. Absolutely anyone.
Yeah, the argument that's obviously been in the news everywhere, is do you need, like, if you sign up for a betting account, you need to verify it with ID or anything like that. I mean, that becomes difficult when it's stuff like when you're having business accounts or anything like that. But there's got to be a way around it. And there has been talks that basically the Premier League and other sort of football governing bodies are potentially going to sue social media companies for not doing enough. Like, and these are $1 billion lawsuits. These aren't the fines get handed out by UEFA. This is multi-million, even $1 billion lawsuits.
But yeah, the players are getting. It's not just, obviously this isn't just down to football. It's sport. It's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. That it's just anyone can start a Twitter account. You know, those what used to be an egg. Do you know what I mean? Like someone can just quickly use a fake email address, sign up to Twitter, go onto a profile, racially abuse them, and deactivate. Do you know what I mean? And just stay there.
In the time that we've been talking about this, people could have done that. In that time, it's that easy. It's that quick.
It can't be that easy. There has to be change. But will there be? You want to see it. I hope to see it. But there's been more change with the handball rule and offside than there has been tackling racism. So yeah. Manchester City are stupidly good at football. Now, they're so good. They are ridiculous. I felt sorry for the Everton keeper yesterday because he was third choice, but he was storming. What a that's I know. Obviously, he saved it onto the crossbar, and Gundogan obviously headed it in. There was nothing more he could have done though. But what a save, and the one against Sterling as well. Do you think they win the quadruple? Yes or no?
If it's a yes or no answer, I would say no, and simply based on Bayern Munich are still in the Champions League. It is with that amount of games still coming up. I expect them to beat Tottenham in the Carabao Cup final.
Tottenham.
Yeah. Okay, it's going to be a very tough game against Chelsea in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, which we'll obviously get to. They're walking the league.
Yeah.
It's the Champions League. I think worst case scenario, they get the double.
That's not the worst.
No, exactly. I mean, barring a shock, but Man City haven't had a shocker in a cup against a team not called Wigan since for about 20 years.
Obviously, they've won the domestic treble. That was a few years ago. That was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? So they know what it takes to win. You know, in England, it's the Champions League in their grasp. It's there. However, if you were to say to me, obviously, we'll link this in with the FA Cup action. If you were to have said to me, Frank Lampard still in charge in the FA Cup semi-final, I would say, yeah, Man City go through. Honestly, I think Chelsea will win the FA Cup under Tuchel because they've not conceded in 11 hours of football. The last time they conceded at Stamford Bridge, was when Frank Lampard was in charge in the fourth round of the FA Cup against Luton.
Last time they conceded a league goal would have been against Man City, wouldn't it? At Stamford Bridge, sorry. That would have been that 4-1 against... Was it 4-1?
He has seriously done wonders with this team. He has made them so difficult to break down. Now, the Sheffield United game, McGoldrick, 5 yards out, missing a header, which, I'm not being funny, no disrespect to you, Elliot, but I mean this, you could have scored.
You've seen me header a ball. I wouldn't have made contact.
You play centre-back for Dempo because you were the tallest player on our team. Yet, whenever the ball came in for a corner... couldn't header it. Sorry. Anyway, this isn't about you.
I have shocking heading ability.
But that could have changed the game. Obviously, I'm not saying that. Chelsea did look like they got carved open a little bit, but and Man City are going to be a bit more difficult. But the thing is, with Man City, Jesus is too inconsistent. Aguero doesn't play. They rely on the wings. Christensen's he's been playing out of his skin recently. Yeah. Azpilicueta, he's consistent. I don't think he had the best of
the best thing
times.
That goes for him though is that he can play anywhere. He can play anywhere across that back four, back five. So
Mendy is capable keeper. We've seen he's a very good keeper. So they have some good. And Kante, oh my word, Kante is a ridiculous football player. Kante, I can't describe how good he is. Kante lost his virginity and ran back to go get it back. Do you know what I mean?
I think like after that Atletico Madrid game, he could have done another game. He must have run the most on the pitch, and he is back to the Kante levels that were sort of the best in the world in that position.
Yeah, exactly. They'll rename it the Kante role. It was Emerson's goal, but on the right hand side, Kante's running. I can't do that after 5 minutes of getting onto. We had a kick about not long ago.
I'd be gone. I'd be flowing.
We had a kick about not long ago, and I think I kicked the ball twice behind the goal. Oh my God, I couldn't be asked to go get it the second time. I just walked. I guess that's why they're professional footballers, and we talk about them every Tuesday. Tell your friends. But obviously Champions League, I think they get through to the semi-finals. Again, I don't think Chelsea are obviously going to win everything, but they've become a lot harder and a lot more of a dark horse than what they were at the beginning of the season. I had Chelsea to finish second in the league because of the signings. Didn't think they'd do it with Tuchel in charge, but it's still possible. You know, I think they're 5-6 points off second. So who knows?
The thing that's going for Chelsea though in the Champions League is that side of the draw. I would argue that they're, at least at the moment, they're the best team on that side of the draw. Because,
based on current form.
Because Real Madrid aren't what they used to be. Liverpool obviously are having a really poor season. And but you'd expect them to get past Porto. So on paper, I know obviously football isn't played on paper, but on paper they get through to the Champions League final and that's a one-off game. At that stage, anything can happen.
And that could be against Man City.
It could be Bayern Munich, but Chelsea-Bayern Munich in a Champions League final, it's happened before.
What happened last time, exactly right. I love football. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch all of it. I love football. There's nothing more. I cannot describe it better than I love football. Right, EFL action. Barnsley are still quite comfortable in the playoffs. However, Darren Moore has won his first game in charge with Sheffield Wednesday against, of all teams, Barnsley. Now, what do you think? Does that perk Wednesday up a bit? Does that make them go, hello, we could be safe here?
It's not done yet, is it? It's not done yet. It is currently 6 points behind Birmingham. Birmingham have a game in hand, but the issue is that between them is Rotherham, who are 3 points between the two of them, and they have 4 games in hand on Birmingham, 3 on Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
You've got to be looking ahead of Birmingham. You've got to be looking at Coventry. You've got to be looking at Derby, and at that point, then you're looking at Coventry, who Sheffield Wednesday don't have games in hand of, who are 7 points ahead of them, and you suddenly then thinking, you might not finish second to bottom, but you might finish third from bottom.
Yeah, tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah, their next couple of games are Watford and Cardiff, who are two very sort of informed teams. I think Cardiff are just below the playoffs, and Watford are in an automatic promotion space. So I don't think it's done yet, but if you had to push for an answer, I'd still have them as playing League One football next season.
Yeah, no, that would be obviously a hole in the Championship, potentially, and Sheffield Wednesday in League One. I can see your face just brightening up.
I'd be first in the queue for tickets for on that terrace at Burton in the home end, wearing my City shirt, chanting Diaby all afternoon.
Do you reckon Sheffield Wednesday fans turn off when they hear our intro?
Potentially.
They're probably thinking, no, not listen to this bunch.
Maybe.
Which, I don't blame, to be fair, I don't blame them most
Yeah,
weeks.
to be fair, that's probably quite good for me.
Yeah, obviously. Let's not count out Derby. Now, Derby have not won a game in 7. If I said that right? I said that quite confidently without double checking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Derby have not won a game in 7. They've only scored 2 in that. Sorry, they only scored 3 in that, conceding 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, Derby's next games are against Luton and Reading. Reading are still hovering around that playoff spot. Obviously, they still want that. And Luton as well, they're mid-table Championship side, which I didn't think I'd describe them as, to be honest, at the beginning of the season, but they are. I wasn't planning on describing Barnsley as potential Premier League players.
Yeah.
But here we are. This season's just mental. I mean, you had Forest to go up.
Yeah, no, that I did.
I can't wait for because
we're going to revisit them.
Exactly. That's going to be a special one-off episode where it's just going to be us talking about our predictions, and then we have to do a shot tally of how often we got. We'll do a drinking game to it. We'll come to it, obviously, in May. Worth mentioning, obviously, Derby are not out of it. Not 1 in 7. Rooney has big ambitions for Derby. He said in multiple interviews that his ambitions for Derby next season is promotion. That's all well and good. And maybe give him a summer transfer window to bring in who he wants. That probably would have been a lot better if the takeover had happened. But obviously, takeover's not happening anymore and looking for new investors. So it might be a bit more difficult to bring in the players he wants. Loan-wise, obviously, I think he'll be sorted. But in order to get promoted, I guess he didn't technically say promoted from what league. So who knows? But it'd be interesting to see what happens because, as you said, Rotherham have got 4 games in hand over Derby as well, and Rotherham are only 5 points behind Derby.
Yeah,
That's how close they are.
I think Derby are really relying on other teams being worse than them rather than them actually being proactive about it and staying up on their own accord.
Got the Newcastle syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. But they've 2 of their last 3 games are Birmingham and Sheffield Wednesday. If they can pick up form before then potentially it could be sorted by that point. But if they don't, those games are enormous.
Yes, absolutely huge. Oh, I just love the chat. I just love football.
I don't want to move there and be watching League One football.
That's what seems. Whenever I move somewhere, they're never good, and as soon as I move out from somewhere, teams become good. Apart from Gillingham, of course. Move to Wickham, they're in League Two most of the time. I move out of Wickham, they go to the Championship. I weren't living in Derby; they were pushing playoffs. You got to the playoff final. I moved to Derby. They're trying to avoid relegation.
To be fair, the Derby fans are probably quite glad that it was a change of definitely winning the league until February and then losing in the playoffs.
Well, I want to mention Norwich as well. I don't think we talk about Norwich too much.
Not enough for how well they've been doing this season.
Played 10, won 9, drawn 1. That's ridiculous form. Obviously, Pookie again showing that fair play to him. Obviously, didn't leave Norwich when they went down. He knows he can do it in that league, and he's shown again that he can do it in that league. 22 goals this season. Only player better than him this season is Ivan Toney, who is ridiculous. He was absolutely ridiculous. 28 goals, 9 assists. Was it something like that this season?
Something like that. It's absolutely phenomenal.
England call-up numbers?
If he can, Ollie Watkins has shown that if he can hit double figures in the Premier League, then why not?
Bamford shown you can't, but...
How old is Ivan Toney? 25. Yeah, same age as Watkins. But yeah, that is ridiculous number. Like he's chipping in with assists as well as.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that Newcastle sold him for £1 million.
Really?
I think they sold Adam Armstrong for similar as well. And now Newcastle could desperately do with a striker or two.
They could. Now, obviously, you mentioned it before we started.
It's boring.
It is a bit boring, isn't it? These yo-yo teams. I mean, you're talking yo-yo teams as a whole, fan. Let's not.
Yeah, but we did it a couple of times. We did it a couple of times. They're doing it. I don't think they've got promoted I don't think they haven't got promoted or relegated in about 5 or 6 years.
They are too good for the Championship, and they've proven that. They're just awful in the Premier League, and they've proven that. Just let them.
They need to be in a little league somewhere between Premier League and Championship, where there's teams like Norwich, teams like West Brom, arguably Fulham,
Watford,
Hull City, fingers crossed, Watford.
Gillingham.
Yeah, there needs to be that sort of, just middle ground where they could all enjoy themselves. And it's the kind of place that sort of Abel Hernandez would score 15 goals a season, not the 27 that he gets in the Championship and not the 4 he gets in the Premier League.
Obviously, on their heels-ish, I say on their heels-ish is Watford. Now, maybe they found the manager that they've been after all this time. Zisco, whatever his name. No, when he loses 3 games in a row at the Premier League, he'll be out.
But yeah, they've been on fire recently.
They have absolutely been on fire, and the playoffs again is starting to shape up. Bournemouth are 3 points behind Reading, and they have a game in hand, obviously because they lost to Southampton in the FA Cup. They win that, they go into that final playoff position. But let's not rule out obviously Middlesbrough, Cardiff as well, because they're still hovering. It's just exciting. I love the playoffs.
Yeah, the playoffs. It's the best time of the year, isn't it? There's games every evening and they all mean something.
Exactly. Speaking of the playoffs, am I dreaming yet?
Oh, it's looking positive, isn't it? I mean, it was after 2 minutes anyway.
Well, so if you had said to me before a draw from Doncaster, beating your head off, absolutely, I would have taken a draw. You go 2-0 up in 10 minutes, you think I can't believe I'm looking at a game against Doncaster as 2 points lost rather than gaining a point. That shows how much belief big old Steve Evans has put into me. And every week, I'm a broken record. I'm not going to believe. We're sat 2 points off the playoffs. There was a brief moment at work. Okay, I'm sat at my desk and I've got a laptop next to me with flash scores on. Gillingham go 2-0 up. And there was a brief moment I saw Gillingham in the playoffs. I had a bit of a nosebleed, not going to lie. Just never been up that high before. But seeing that and knowing that we could be there. Do you know what I want to be? I want to be the Wickham of the Championship. I want people to go, they don't deserve to be there. I don't deserve to be there.
But
they play horrible football. They play horrible football. They play these long balls. They all rely on long throws, even though our first goal came from a short throw. And He did. For Dean Oliver, as I said, I'll be naming my kid after you. Second name. I am believing. I am slowly starting to believe. We had, at the beginning of the season, we laughed. We had a big joke and laugh that I said Gillingham would win the playoffs against Hull. I think Hull are winning the league. I say that, and I got that prediction wrong. However, it's one of those where if Hull won against Shrewsbury, I know you will talk about that in a second, if Hull do slip a little bit more, and the teams, Peterborough and Sunderland, start gaining, because they're only maximum, I think, is 6 points behind Hull.
With games in hand as well.
With games in hand, could be a playoff situation between Gillingham and Hull. I don't want Hull to be third and Gillingham to be sixth.
You don't want us. Yeah, you don't want us to play each other in the two-legged. You want
got to be the Wembley game. But yeah, obviously 2-2 against Doncaster. It was really good 10 minutes. I don't know where that came from. We drew 2-2 in the end. 2 sloppy goals to give away, I think. But I take it. They're a team challenging for the playoffs, and we've drawn 2-2 against them, trying to challenge for the playoffs. When about 5 episodes ago, I was thinking we're going to be mid-table. So anything can happen in football. We'll talk about Gillingham's next game in a second, because normally we move on to the next game of Gillingham we could get and whether I think we could beat them. I'll let you talk about your team first, though, because they've got something in common with Gillingham's next opponents.
So, yeah, we've got a draw against Shrewsbury, which on paper isn't a good result. But the important thing is that Peterborough, Sunderland and Lincoln all also drew, which
seems to be a running theme, I think, with Hull at the moment. Not saying that you're not good enough to be top of the league, but teams are dropping points when Hull are winning. Do you know what I mean? It really helped you now.
But then, so essentially it was the same situation as it was at start of play on Saturday, but with everyone having one game less now. We've now only got 9 games left to see out. We've still got Sunderland and Lincoln playing that time. But yeah, I'm more worried about more pressing fixtures, particularly the one on Saturday.
In case you guys haven't cracked our code yet, next Saturday, the 27th of March, is Hull v Gillingham at the KC. So that Sunday's recording is going to be interesting. Now, the Hull v Gillingham at the very beginning of the season, I know I was quite excited for it and you were quite anxious for it, but they hadn't played. Like, do you know what I mean? We'd gone into barely with no pre-season. There was it was it. Do you know what I mean? I was just excited because, Gillingham made some good signings. However, this time around, I'm genuinely quite excited for this game.
And I'm nervous, so it's the same. So fingers crossed for me that it's the same result.
No. So, do you know what do you honestly, and I'm not just saying this, I think Gillingham sneak that. I do. I think it's going to be a dirty 1-0.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was thinking because Steve Evans would love to play against us. Our centre-backs, they're not what you'd call League One centre-backs. They're not physical, they're not dirty, they're not going to go through you. They are, one of a better term, pretty boys. They'll do the playing out from the back. It's Reece Burke with his ripped jeans. It's the kind of character that Steve Evans would love to play against. And yeah, I think if you come to us and just basically hit us, play the physical type of game, the referee allows it to go, I think we could be in a bit of trouble.
And I can't wait for you next Sunday to be like, Gillingham play all these long balls, they play all these long crosses, they're horrible to play against their dirty team, who I've been obviously slagging off the past few weeks.
No, I think regardless of the result, I think I'll be, because there's obviously still a piece of Gillingham in my heart as well. So I do want to see Gillingham do well, obviously not at the expense of us. What I would absolutely bite your hand off for now is for us to draw and everyone else to draw around us as well, like it was on this weekend.
Well, obviously looking at the odds on FootMob, not a sponsor yet, they're showing odds of Hull being quite favourable, obviously, and I don't doubt that, Hull top of the league. I just think with the form Gillingham are on, against a team where, obviously this is weird because I'll be saying, I'm talking about your team, as if I was, talking about the next opponents. Obviously against lower opposition, Wimbledon, Rochdale, Bristol Rovers, you didn't concede, kept clean sheets. But then I look at the form above with Burton, Lincoln, MK Dons, Doncaster, teams in in and around Gillingham's quality. I don't think that's unfair to say. Looks like Hull have struggled to kind of, and obviously Shrewsbury as well. You know, I wouldn't go as far as to say they're not too distant from Gillingham's kind of quality. Obviously, this season, fair enough, they've not been very good. They've been quite poor, but as a League One side. So I look at that and I think, get into them, you dirty northern other things. Other words. But yeah, I can't wait for next Sunday.
It's going to be a really interesting game, and
you'll know if anyone doesn't watch the game or anything like that and just listens to this through our voices alone. Thank you. Don't know why, but okay. But if I start the podcast next week all nice and cheery, hello everyone, with through on goal, then you'll know exactly the result. Neutral, it's a draw. If Elliot starts it next week, he's won. I won't start it next week. If Gillingham lose, I'll make Elliot do it. Just before we end, obviously, EFL, it's worth noting Stevenage in League 2 are unbeaten in like 10 games, or a ridiculous amount of games. It's weird because last season, didn't they literally just on points per game or something like that? Didn't they stay out and Macclesfield went down?
Was it Stevenage that only stayed up? They technically went down, but because of Macclesfield's financials, that pushed them in.
Yes. And they had less points, didn't they? Yeah, I think over because League 2 was voided off along with League 1 that season. And I think technically Stevenage were bottom or second to last. Yeah. But then at the last second, Macclesfield got like a -6 point deduction, and
it was decided off of the pitch, wasn't it? That relegation.
Obviously, since then, unfortunately, Macclesfield have been wound up. But no, Stevenage, I think they're 15 points now off of that relegation spot. Mid-table, but I just thought it was worth mentioning. Obviously, I didn't want to just go...
Yeah, no, of course. Is it Elliot List who's there, former Gillingham?
He is, yeah. I think there's another former Gillingham there as well for some reason.
Oh, there's one of the big tough defenders, isn't there? It's not Adam Barrett, is it? He was Southend. I'm pretty sure there is, because
Joe Martin's still there.
We went out to them on penalties in the FA Cup. There was a few names that I recognised.
No, yeah, Elliot List and Joe Martin's obviously former Gills as well. Well done, Alex Revel in charge, playing sublime football.
One more thing to say on EFL as well. Nige.
Oh, Breakfast with Nige.
Breakfast with Nige has returned, hasn't it?
He has. He's quite, I think, quite unwarranted hate towards him from the Charlton fans, personally.
He's a lovely bloke.
He's proven in that league, I think. Yeah. Okay, he's not exactly a long-term manager, but he's a manager that can put things together and see it through. He did with Hull, obviously.
And a lovely bloke. He loves two things. He loves a nutritious breakfast and a nice walk in the country. So I don't know why he's gone to South East London, because there are no nice country walks there.
It's not a nice place to be, but good luck to him. Not at the expense of Gillingham. I hope you go out of the playoffs this year and maybe back into it next year. But
yeah, because that Breakfast with Nige, I was the first one to ever use that hashtag, and he now uses it himself, and I've got a plate with it right in front of me.
What, Nigel Atkins uses Breakfast with Nige?
Yeah, he uses it. Yeah, and if you click on the hashtag, who's the first one who ever used it? Little old me.
That's amazing. Yeah, we got a plate for out of context for anyone that doesn't know. When Elliot was a big old breakfast fan of Nigel Atkins, me and my partner Lan decided to get him a customisable plate with Nigel Atkins' face on it, with a nice big bold white letters, Breakfast with Nige in the middle of the plate. And I actually cannot believe.
Are you searching it now?
I'm trying to find it now, yeah.
Because he uses it like all the time. That's like, he's one of these people, like, he goes on the walk and he talks into his phone and he talks about how life's positive and everything like that. And he uses the Breakfast with Nige hashtag on it.
Oh my word.
And yeah, I'm just scrolling to the bottom. I'm on May 2020 at the moment. So it looks a horrific breakfast. Have you seen it?
No,
the one that I made. It was whole grain noodles with sausage, feta cheese, bacon, and an egg.
Right.
14th of June 2018.
Bloody Guardian Sport. Hashtag Breakfast with Nige. How Nigel Atkins is bringing calm to the masses. Guardian Football are using something that you made up as anyway. Sorry, we spent the last 2 minutes looking at Breakfast with Nige.
Also, because I replied, the tweet that I first used it in was that iconic tweet that he replied to. I can't even remember what it was that he got called, and the person since deleted it.
Oh, why did you call me that?
Why do you call me that? Do you not believe breakfast is important? What breakfast do you have, if any? If you had children, what breakfast would you like them to have before they go to school? And from there, Breakfast with Nige was born.
Wow. Oh, there you go. We'll have a segment.
Yeah.
We'll create a segment called Breakfast with Nige, shall we? But Elliot, I think it's time to end the podcast.
Yeah.
You all good to go? Yeah. Obviously, for those of you that have stayed this long, thank you very much. We're going to present to you now no context news to end the podcast. Elliot finds a random news headline from around the world. He says it and he just ends the podcast. I've no idea what it says. Hopefully it makes me laugh. No pressure.
So this one is from Daily Mirror, and it is that teacher orders calculators from Morrison's. Get 7 chicken and bacon pasta bakes instead. It was, those replacement. No,
what?
When you order online and it comes as a replacement. This is we didn't have it in stock, so this is what.
This is what we think you'd like instead.
This is what we've replaced it with. It was chicken and bacon pasta bake.
Can you imagine? Why did you coming home from school and being like, why did you fail your maths exam? Sorry, didn't have a calculator. I had a chicken and bacon pasta bake instead.
To be fair, the picture shows that it's 3 for £6. So
it's a bargain. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you very much for listening. We are Through on Goal. We're on wherever you get your podcasts. If you look for us, we're most likely there. But yeah, thank you very much for listening, and we'll speak to you again this time next week. I've been Elliot.
And I've been Sam. Thank you very much for listening. And yeah, remember to tell your friends.
Bye bye.
Bye.